Pop quiz, when is a Gibson J45 not a Gibson J45? When it's a J50. We're going to explain everything. Stick around. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name's Chris McKee.
I'm Cooper Greenberg.
We're here with Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, visit our Teespring store link below for our custom-designed t-shirts. So, Cooper, you've got a really cool guitar in your hands. Beautiful J-50. Gibson. What is it?
J-50.
It is. It is one of Gibson's original 50's J-50s. So, yeah, it's 50's J-50. That's fun. But, you know, we've talked about on the channel that Gibson decided to separate their lines, both in the electric and the acoustic, to focus on kind of the original specs and then the modern specs of guitars, so that if you want something that's kind of old school, you can be happy. And if you want something that's more modern, you know, you can be happy, and neither is forced upon you, which I think is the best of both worlds. The reason I wanted to do this review today is because I think, one, the J-50 does not get the love that it should. And two, for people who might go on Gibson's website and look at some of these and kind of wonder what's the difference between this and a Gibson Original 50's J45, we can explain it to you. So, you very familiar with the J-50?
This was actually the first one I've ever played. I was excited to try it out, and I was expecting something wildly different than a J45. And it's not.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's basically, it's a J45. It's a J45 in a different finish. And so I know you're all like, well, so, okay, Chris, why isn't it just a J45 natural? And effectively it is, but the reason it's a J50 is because history. So back in the day, you had the J45, and Gibson introduced a natural top, non-burst version of the J45, and they called it the J50. And then it changed a little bit. It had some specs back in the 50s that brought along the binding being a multi-layered binding on the top, single on the back, and some changes to the pickguard. But effectively, it was still a J45 in natural. And so if you look at the specs, it gets confusing, and a lot of people wonder what the big difference is. The bracing's the same, the tone woods are the same, the scale length's the same, the nut width's the same. It's the same guitar. It really is just a finish difference. But some very famous people have played J50s over the years. And, you know, I think a lot of people love a J45, and the J50 doesn't have that cachet to it, you know?
Yeah. And
so it doesn't get the sales love. This is along the lines of the other video that we made of, like, the hidden gems.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
There's people that just, if you want a J45 and you like that natural look,
yeah,
you can get that. You can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's weird because I might be going way off here, but tell me if you agree.
Yeah.
When you look at a J45 with the burst, it almost makes it appear to be smaller. Just because, you know, your eyes, they blend in the black with everything behind it because we're not evolved yet, and no, I'm just kidding. But I feel like this, to me, looking at it head on, looks like more of a larger jumbo-sized guitar. And then I think about a J45 as a jumbo, or a J50 as a jumbo, and then the SJ200 is so much bigger in my mind. But then playing this, knowing it's the same exact size as J45, it really makes me realize how big the jumbo, like J45, J50 actually are. I think it sounds great, and the natural finish also tricks my mind into thinking that it sounds different than a J45, and it doesn't.
It doesn't.
But it's
which is a good
tricks.
thing.
Yeah.
It sounds like a J45.
Yeah.
We love that sound, so that's a good thing about it.
Yeah, and I mean, I dig it. It's super just basic. It's no frills. It's very cool.
Yeah, particularly the 50s one. You know, just like the 50s J45 version of this guitar, you've got the vintage strap style buttons for the tuners. You've got, you know, the vintage spec when it comes to the the bridge, as well as the pick guard, the inlay, just everything about it is based upon these 50s guitars, which are guitars that we all love. Patrick, one of our cohorts here, who we won't let around the guitar for obvious reasons for people who watch this channel, he really likes the neck on these. It's the rounder neck, and so you've got that kind of vintage feel to it to go along with the tone. But to speak to the point of how these are maybe misunderstood and underappreciated, we can't compare this to a J45 right now because we don't have one in stock because we sell so many of them and they happen to be sold out as we wait for more from Gibson. But we have a J50, and you know, I don't know what Gibson's numbers are about what's in stock and what's not, but dollars to donuts, they're probably sold out of J45s and they probably have inventory of J50s because people just don't see that they are effectively, if you're wanting that tone, the same guitar with a slightly different aesthetic that I really like.
Yeah.
You know, most guitars, I think this would be the norm, that natural finish where you get the mahogany, you get the spruce. Really beautiful spruce top on this one, actually. As you're holding it up, I'm like, look at the medullary lines. We're getting geeky here, but that's a really nice Sitka spruce top.
Really nice top.
In effectively a handmade guitar, that's a really awesome guitar. So if you've wondered what the difference is, that's the difference. There's not much of one, and it's that wonderful Workhorse J45 sound that we all know and love. So to remind you of what that sounds like, we're gonna put through its paces. Actually, Cooper is, because I injured my little hand here and my digits aren't working that well. Which, bonus for this video, take care of your hands. You know, in the last 2 weeks, I have hurt one finger lifting weights, where I got sandwiched between weights, and then smacked this against a piece of furniture, which really, really hurt. But you were injured and almost unable to do demos because of an accident in the kitchen.
A zucchini accident.
What were you cutting it with?
I was using a mandolin.
And I don't understand why he has musical instruments in the kitchen with zucchini, but that's for another video. That joke never gets old. So anyways, so Cooper's going to do the demo for you, help you understand exactly what awesome warmth and power you get out of this guitar. So check it out. Okay, so there you have it. The J-50. It's the J45 by any other name. It's got that great warmth, that tone that you expect. It's kind of like it's a little lo-fi, I think. You know, there's a warmth to it, and there's certain notes that really ring out, but there's an emphasis on that low mid that you get out of it. It's that J45 sound.
I love it. So on the demos, I was kind of playing, you know, fingerpick stuff and flat pick stuff, but when I think of guitars like this, J45, J50, I think of like those kind of bluegrass type runs that you're doing pull-offs into open notes and stuff, and just like really hammering home that tone of like a mahogany dreadnought, just bombing. And I think that like goes in my head with the Workhorse title. Really good sound for that kind of style, I think.
Yeah, I think these guitars tend to be my favorite for flat picking runs like that, and for like folksy stuff.
Yeah.
If it's just the big old chords
I love that
to go
stuff.
along with stuff, it works really well. So there you have it. That's our opinion. If you're wanting a J45 in a slightly different flavor, so you could be one of the people that's in the know, you know, then you want to look at a J50, which is newer in Gibson's lineup. It's been in and out of production for years, and I'm glad that they've been able to separate the line and kind of bring it back so people can have this 50s flavor available.
Do they have a 60s J50?
They do. It has the adjustable bridge that was... You know, here's the thing about the J50 and the J45 for that matter. In the 60s, it was a weird time. They moved to adjustable bridges. They had a plastic bridge for a period of time, which was very short-lived.
All right.
The bracing got heavier to cut down on warranty claims. That was the idea of the president of Gibson at the time. And then they had a short-lived square J50. It moved away from the round shoulder dreadnought, and it moved to this square body toward the end of the 60s. And then the 70s hit, and everyone moved to disco. But thankfully, they've reissued it in a round shoulder dreadnought.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of the adjustable bridge ones, to be honest with you. We've played a few. They're okay. I don't like that design because of the transference of vibration to the top through the saddle is really important.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's there. They make it.
I'm glad to know that even in the 60s, great time for music, Gibson still very consistently was making questionable decisions.
You know, it's interesting. They all were at the time. You know, if you look at guitar history, Fender gets sold, CBS takes over, and by the end of the 60s, the guitars are getting questionable. The same thing happens at Gibson. By the end of the 60s, the guitars are getting questionable. Same thing happens at Martin. You know, you had this huge folk boom, and they were making so many guitars that their tooling actually started to get worn out. And so peg head shape started to suffer, and bridge shape started to suffer, and intonation started to drift, and all of these weird things that thankfully eventually got corrected. And these have been off and on for years, but I think Gibson's making some of their best acoustics now.
Totally.
Under the current leadership and what they're doing in Montana.
The original line especially, I think, is so cool that they get 50s options, 60s options, J45s too. It's really cool stuff. I really like this guitar.
Me too. So if you'd like more information about this guitar, head over to our website. It's alamomusic.com. You can also click on the link below, and that'll take you there as well. You can check out the specs, and you can chat with someone live if you have questions about this, other Gibson acoustics, or any guitar that you happen to be looking for. You know, that's our goal, is to kind of unite you with the proper instrument so that you can make beautiful music to your heart's desire and keep playing. You know, because at the end of the day, the very best guitar in the world is
a natural finish instead of a vintage sunburst
that you're playing. Absolutely. So keep coming back for more. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, like our videos, and we will see you next time.